Dr. Jatun Dorsey is an award-winning speaker, life and business coach, professor, corporate leader, podcaster, and four-time Amazon best-selling author. As a coach and speaker, her primary focus is to teach Uber-driven, aspiring, or newly acquired entrepreneurs how to establish a successful business and intentionally thrive in their career. As the founder of the Commend Her Network, a 501c3 organization, she and her team focus on supporting and empowering girls and women to operate in collaboration instead of competition. As a sought-after speaker with both a master's and doctorate in business administration and nearly 20 years of corporate leadership experience, she supplements her lived experiences with structured knowledge. Whether in the classroom, boardroom, or banquet room, this combination has proven to be what her clients and audiences appreciate most about her methods of encouragement, motivation, and education. To add to all of her fabulous ventures, Dr. Jatan's first book, Fabulous New Life, co-authored with 27 other amazing women, reached Amazon's bestseller list in 2015. In her ebook entitled Misbehavior, Dr. Jatan teaches you how to achieve a successful future by decluttering mentally, igniting your passion, and showing up as the best you. Additionally, in her book, Intentional Living, 30 Productivity Principles to Achieve Peace of Mind, she shares 30 tried and tested principles on reaching your ultimate goals while also being true to yourself. In 2018, she birthed a new complementary version of her last publication titled Intentional Living, the Anthology. Finally, as a contributing author with Thrive Global magazine, Dr. Jatan offers edutainment, discussing topics related to love, life, and business. When not focusing on her passion of inspiring and encouraging others, she enjoys spending time with family, dancing, relaxing, and singing karaoke. Her favorite things are massages, plum wine, laughter, and dates with her husband. Welcome to the show, Dr. Jatun Dorsey.
All right, lady. All right, so she is in charge. We're in for a special treat today. I have someone who is an amazing businesswoman. She is known as one of the top professional parallelpreneurs. Welcome to the show, Dr. Jatun Dorsey. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Meredith, for having me. I'm looking forward to a good time with you.
Well, awesome. I'm looking forward to a good time with you as well. I know it's going to be power-packed with lots of advice and tips. I'm just going to paint a little color for our audience here. Dr. Jatan and I have actually met each other. What has it been now? Two and a half years? 2 years ago?
About, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I met her a couple of years ago and met her at an engagement where she was one of the highlighted speakers for an event, which was amazing. She did an awesome job there. And I was automatically drawn to her because of her confidence, her intelligence, and the way that she wrote the message down at that time. I won't go over the message again because it was for that room and for that audience, but she was amazing. And I just had to get to know her. And then we ended up sitting together or sitting next to each other at the event and just clicked as far as I thought, clicked as far as, eating habits and stuff like that. You remember that conversation at the table? And I was like, I think I'm sick to myself and my little shrimp over here. But she just has a light within her that needs to be shared with the world. And that's why I decided to bring her onto the She's in Charge platform to have a conversation with you all. On top of that, she is someone who I see is just very organized. She is a woman of many different hands, but has it all together. And I am always just amazed at how organized she is and how straightforward she is and how much she has done in that little bit of time that she has been out there and all that you've accomplished. I'm just amazed by that. So to start off, tell us a little bit about your career journey as a parallelpreneur. What has it been like for you as a full-time corporate leader working to build your namesake brand?
Yeah. And I know you mentioned a little bit of time that I've been out there, but guys, this has been a journey. It's not an overnight success. I've actually been in business, officially for Dr. Jatan since 2010, I think. Ooh. And prior to then, I had other businesses as well. So definitely not a short time, and it doesn't feel like it. So,
My goodness.
Yes, it's been a long journey. However, I think that's a part of the story, which is why I wanted to open up to that or with that as I answer your question, because it wasn't just, a mishap. It wasn't just one thing that cultivated where I am now. So initially I knew, like even in college and undergrad, I knew that I wanted to be a career professional, but I also wanted to have my own thing. Because I'm just that ambitious and that passionate about, helping people and things of that sort. However, at that time, I'm sure many of you, even those of you who may be in college now are feeling like, wait, I don't know what I really want to do. I started out with this focus, but I'm not really sure I want to do that. Well, that was me. So I changed my major multiple times. And my parents were probably like, look, girl, we have a limit to how much money we want to put into this thing. So make up your mind.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I received that same ultimatum. Like, what you going to do? Because after a couple of years, you're going to be paying for yourself.
Absolutely. So, I changed my major quite a few times. And even I was working even while I was in college. So I've always had this thing about doing multiple things at one time. Right. And I think, initially my parents didn't even want me to work while I was in college. But again, that was just my ambition and my way of figuring out my way. And so I was never afraid to make those steps and try to figure out whether it means by doing. Some people have to really study something before they do it, whereas I'm the person that's, okay, let me figure a few pieces of this thing out, and then let me try it. And then the next steps will show and appear for me to, get clearer about which direction I want to go in. Nevertheless, I started businesses. I think my first business was event planning. And
oh, wow.
Yes. And it's actually called Showtime Event Planning. And I was, excited about planning events. I love to see how clients would enjoy the results of the event, how it would lift their spirits and things of that sort. But then I also had here, you see, also, so I was going to be an and with me. I had a cosmetics company. So I had, I would do vendor booths at different events where I was selling cosmetics. Now at the time, and even still today, I'm not that into makeup. Okay. I don't know how to apply it and things of that sort, but it was just things that I was trying, right?
Oh my goodness.
Right. So eventually, long story short on that, after exploring those things while still in college and throughout, my educational journey, my lived experiences, things of that sort, because by that time I had graduated. And so I had gotten into corporate as well. So graduated from undergrad, went into corporate, and actually, I always say accidentally on purpose fell into financial services.
Accidentally on purpose. Okay.
On purpose. And so, and I say, yeah, so accidentally because it wasn't planned. My degree was government legal studies because I had intentions to go to law school. And so at the time, I was actually a part-time legal assistant, which I enjoyed. However, I wanted to go full-time, and that particular attorney didn't have that in the budget, right? So then I had to figure out what's next for Jatan. And so that's when I went into financial services, and that career began to blossom over the years. I put in the work. I did various things that, helped me to excel in my career, whether it be having mentors or going to networking events. And I know, that could go into so many more details, so I won't give too much on that. But I'm just painting the picture to show you how I, transitioned from college into my career, which may not have been fully planned out. Like I'm exactly going to do this thing, and that's what I did. So for those of you out there, again, who are feeling like I'm really not sure, I feel like I made mistakes, use those things as stepping blocks, because that's how you learn and figure out your next steps and what it is that you enjoy. But back to the business side of it. So after those two businesses that I told you I started, I realized quickly, wait a minute, this is really not what I enjoy, right? And I started to really assess it. That's the part of me, again, that, I have to really get detailed about things. And so I had to sit back and say, what is it about this that I don't like, but what is it about it that I love? Right. And I learned from that both sides, whether it be the cosmetic sales or the event planning, I was helping people. And even throughout college, people would come to me for advice or helping them overcome a challenge and things of that sort. And in reality, that's what you do with event planning, right? They have a challenge of making their dream a reality, right? With cosmetics, they want to look better. So what's the challenge with that? I just want to learn how to apply makeup or feel better about myself. And so I started to pick out these little pieces of every side and realize, wait, that's what I need to do. I need to be more focused on the helping people side, and didn't realize that this was actually an industry, right? That this was actually something that people do. People get paid to speak. People get paid to coach. And so the more I dug into that and learned more about it, that's when I realized this is exactly where I want to be. But again, meanwhile, all the while, I was still building my career, right? And then through my master's of business degree, I was working. I had my business. Through my doctorate, I was working and I had businesses. But again, at that point, I had transitioned into coaching. So I won't carry on about it, but hopefully that gave you enough of an insight of how that journey looked to get to where I am.
Well, see, we're going to dig into it. She is in charge, audience. She is already coming with the diamonds in here. So I hope you all have your pen and paper out and are taking notes, or at least recording this interview on your phone, because that is the reason why we have these conversations. Every woman's journey, whether it be a corporate leader or entrepreneur, is different. And so I appreciate you, Dr. Jatan, for giving me that overview. So tell us about your brand. It's namesake, but you are an author, you are a coach, you are you have a nonprofit organization. Tell us more about your brand. What initially motivated you to finally say, I want to create this powerhouse of brands, or this brand?
I would say the journey that I just described to you, right? But not only that, it was coupled with the fact that people were needing this thing, right? It was an experience of my own, what I refer to as a lived experience. But sometimes we go through things in life, or we experience things and we feel like it's just us, as nobody else is experiencing this. No one else has this problem. So you feel like you're alone in this thing. But when you come to realize, wait, this is a thing for other people too, and they may need guidance because I've already been through it, but they may be struggling to get to the next stage or the next step or the next phase. And so the more I engage with people and the more I started putting things out, the more I realized that it was definitely a need. My nonprofit was really built from me having girls' night outs. And I would always have a theme for it. And we would have, some deep conversations with a group of women where it was a sacred space. And so one of the common denominators in those was that, a lot of women then and even now, because again, my nonprofit is 9 years old now, I think. So it was at a point to where it was a lot of competition for girls and women. And so that was the underlying motivation for me. And so I said, let me create this organization called the Commend Her Network, where we not only commend each other, but we work in complement and not competition for girls and women. And whether that mean in the career, in your business, in life, wherever that is, it's just encouraging that type of environment whenever we interact as women and girls. So to take that over into my business of Dr. Jatan, they both work hand in hand. They complement each other. But specifically for Dr. Jatan, I help newly aspiring side hustlers who feel pressured by society to quit their career in order to be considered a real entrepreneur, to strategically start their business and build their careers through intentionality and strategic action. This results in them showing up confidently and successfully, anchored where they are until God tells them to move. And that's the thing. So many people feel pressure because no one's really teaching you can have your job and you can have your business and you can have a fulfilling life. Like, it's okay to have or to want all of that. Now, granted, you are one person, so don't try to do it all at once or all by yourself, but you can definitely have it.
See, you're saying all that, but we're gonna have to get into what you have been doing later on in the conversation, because I have done that journey of parallelpreneurship, and it's a lot, but we're gonna get into that because that's what you specialize in, and I definitely want to dig into what it is that you do to make it run so smoothly. Yeah. At this point, though, how do you think that you have been able to leverage your corporate expertise as a financial corporate leader to advance yourself and others as parallelpreneurs?
I love that question, because a lot of people often not only have that question, but they're confused about the logic behind it because they're not really clear. For me, I feel like your career, let me take a step back, because there's a difference between a job and a career as well.
Ooh,
right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's be clear about that. When I say career, I mean that you are a professional, you have an established career in which you have built and leveraged your expertise, your education, and things of that sort. And it's a place that you enjoy going to, right? A job for me is, here's the acronym for you, just over broke, right? You just going about your day and you just clocking in just to get your coins and go home. And it's not something you enjoy. It's not something fulfilling, and you're not learning from it. But when we talk about a career, this is really your training grounds, especially as an entrepreneur, or should I say side hustler, because we're talking about parallelpreneurship. Just in case you didn't know what parallelpreneurship was, side hustling. So if you think of it in that way, your career is really your training grounds. Regardless of what type of career it is, what industry it's in, most corporations offer you trainings, whether it be project management, time management, I don't care what it is. And for the most part, they're paying for it or they're offering it for free, right? So this not only helps you to continue to build your career, but it also gives you skills that are transferable to your business.
Exactly.
So if you look at it that way and forget about what other people are telling you about quitting your job, then you'll know and be able to better leverage where you are and grow from there.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, she is in charge. Audience, again, take note from this beautiful woman, Dr. Jatun Dorsey. As you all know, I'm always advocating for going full-time in your business, but I also put a caveat to that. You need to have a plan in place and utilize all of your corporate resources before you just jump out there. And so what she is saying is, use your corporate job, your career where you are right now as your training ground, as something that is the soil to your career. Dr. Jatan, who is your ideal client?
So my ideal client is anyone who is a side hustler, newly acquired or aspiring. Typically, my clients are either Generation X, which is my generation, or millennials. Not to say that it's limited to that, because it could go beyond that. But most of the time, those are my two generations. They're professional women, they're ambitious women, they're Uber-driven women. Oftentimes, they're city dwellers. They're triple passioned, I'll say. Even though we're talking about parallelpreneurship, they are typically triple passionate, meaning that they have a career, they have a business or a business idea, and then they have this family that they're cultivating as well. So just, women who are ambitious and ready to do both, but strategically and intentionally.
Awesome. So now we're going to get into the next phase of the conversation. The last time we spoke, you mentioned the 5 F's. Now, I forgot what you called them exactly, but I know what they were individually, I think. But you mentioned the 5 F's. Now, I want to know this. In your empire that you have created, are those the values that you live by in both your personal and your professional life?
Yes. So definitely something that I live by. Not only myself, but my husband as well, which is the foundation of the podcast that we co-host. My husband and I, Date with the Dorseys. And that's pretty much what drove the idea for us even doing the podcast Date with the Dorseys, because as individuals, we lived off of these 5 F's. And then as a unit, we came together and we built off of that even more. And so it was definitely something that helped us to progress in life and progress in business and progress in our careers and to become the successful individuals that we are and couple that we are. We definitely saw the need to share that. And I continue with this conversation without, I don't want to make the assumption that everyone knows what the 5 F's are. So
I want you to tell us.
So the 5 F's are finance, fitness, faith, fun, and family.
All right. And those, to me, they align with the spiritual order of the house. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
But when it comes down to failure, obviously, I believe that's when the faith part would kick in. But can you tell us at this point, what has been your greatest failure that you've experienced? Like, what caused the failure, and then how did you overcome it outside of just having the faith to do it?
Yeah. So I don't think that there's just one particular failure that just stands out as this grand failure. But I'd say for me, the biggest thing, or I'll go with a trend, if that's fair. So the biggest failure for me is to not try, because oftentimes we have these grand ideas and we want to progress and proceed with them, but you kind of talk yourself out of it. And I've had instances like that. And then later on, I realized, wait, I should have just done it, trusted my heart, trusted my gut. And then, okay, if it does fail, at least I know now, whether or not it works or it does, or I'm sorry, whether or not it works or it doesn't. So I think that for me, the biggest failure would be those times that I've talked myself out of greatness, which is why I always stress that to my clients and my customers. Hey, don't talk yourself out of it before the world can even, talk you out of it. Like, give yourself a chance before you walk out and talk yourself out of it, because the world is going to do it anyway. So hold your ground, try it at least, right? But of course, weigh out the options, weigh out the risks, the pros and cons, and do your due diligence. But don't just say you can't just because of what you grew up to know or what people in the past have done. It doesn't dictate your success journey.
All right. Don't let the haters kill your vibe. In other words,
we can go with that.
Kill your own vibe.
You're watching She Is in Charge, the platform where provocative, empowered, educated, and ambitious women come together to share our thoughts, experiences, and expertise about business through the lens of corporate and entrepreneurial leadership. When you subscribe today, you'll also gain lots of access to free resources, tools, tips, and strategies that will help you maximize your corporate and entrepreneurial value. I'm Meredith Ward, your career and startup CEO strategist, leadership coach, and host of the She Is in Charge platform. As usual, I hope you enjoy the video today. Please subscribe to the She Is in Charge channel on YouTube. And don't forget, click like, comment below, and share this video with everyone you know.
I wanted to ask you about your failures. Because number one, it's important to the journey. But number two, I think it lends to this next question, this data that I'm about to share with you. And I think you may already have known about it. If you're a woman who is in business, you come to know it over time. I know I have, because there were some things in there that kind of took me back. But just in the past couple of years, studies have revealed that almost 90% of all women-owned businesses generate less than $100,000 a year. Now, here's a shocker, to me at least. The statistics show that the companies founded by women, even though we generate less than $100,000 a year for the most part, we also earn twice as much as those founded by men, which, like I said, that took me out when I really started looking into it and, trying to understand like how we stack up against men and how we stack up against the competition worldwide. Because going into entrepreneurship, I really didn't think about all that stuff. I just jumped out there with my plan in hand, but I jumped out there without actually going into that type of research. Now, although that makes our firms as women owners a safer bet for investors, women still face a lot of scrutiny, a lot more scrutiny than men would face when it comes to getting a loan or getting an investment or getting business lines of credit. And clearly, our ability to go out there and make it happen as business owners is not an issue. But based on your experience as a business owner and as a financial professional, why do you think the majority of businesses owned by women earn less than $100,000 a year? Like that, like, why is that?
Yeah. I beg to say that it's because we are doing too much. But not because we're doing too much, but we're doing too much without a plan.
Ooh.
And that really takes us into a rabbit hole, because then you find yourself taking action, doing busy work, but you're not productive.
Say it again, please.
Yes. Busy work is not being productive. And so, right. So I think a lot of women, because we're nurturers too, by nature, we're nurturers. oftentimes we tend to back off of our pricings. We tend to give things away for free. Now, granted, it's definitely beneficial for your business to offer things to your audience so that they can get a taste of, an appetizer of what it is that you can truly bring if you become my client. However, to always, accept and be okay with people bargaining with you with your prices and feeling like you're not worth your prices, then that becomes another issue, because now you're spending all this time to create these products.
Right.
You're selling them or not selling them. You're selling them for cheap or you're not selling them at all, which means that you're not making a profit. So, I think that that's two of the main reasons. And so when you back to that first one, though, when you're busy and not being productive, you're mostly not focusing on revenue generating activities, and you're trying to do everything for your business and be everything for your business instead of showing up in that part of the business that you are skilled in. Right. So you cannot be the admin. You can't take out the trash. You can't, be the maid and clean up and all that at the same time.
Right.
So figuring out, how to delegate, who can help you so that you're more productive than busy is I think the largest thing.
Outside of that too, being a busy bee rather than a productive bee, what you said too, you're either going in and discounting your services or discounting your value, or you're not selling at all. I think that parallels a lot with the confidence that a lot of women lack going into business and performing as a business owner. Now, according to the Small Business Administration, I know 21% or a little bit more than that of women are not very confident about their performance. And that is something that is commonly based on the level of their financial development all the time. And I just know, I'm sure you do too, if you are not making a sale in one area of your business, it's hard because it goes against you. We don't, as human beings, we don't like rejection. Mm-hmm. And so it's natural for us to kind of abhor that feeling that comes with you making 25 calls or you actually putting yourself out there and no one is responding. So then you feel like, okay, well, let me just discount the service and maybe they'll take it seriously.
All right.
But how much do you think the lack of confidence regarding our sales and overall business performance has really caused women to not pursue entrepreneurship full time?
It weighs heavy. And I'd say that society, and I say that in general, but this could be coaches, this could be friends, family, whomever. But, again, it goes back to my earlier statement of me helping people not feel pressured by this whole thing that society has communicated or that's pushing down that you are not a real entrepreneur if you have a job or you have a career. And I think that bears heavy on people's confidence when it comes to starting your business, especially if you have a career or a job. And some people are not, for me, I'm not at a place to where I want to leave my career because I enjoy my career. Mm-hmm. Whereas someone else's situation may be, look, my business is not making enough money for me to leave my career. So there are so many different aspects to it, and your story is your story. So that's why I mentioned, stay anchored where you are until God tells you to move. Like, know where you are and understand your situation and do what it takes for you to achieve what it is that you want to achieve as an entrepreneur. So understanding that and contending with that even builds the confidence and the boldness for you to be where you are and shine where you are and do what you can with what you got.
Right. And then too, it's understanding also that going full time is not for everyone.
Yes.
So you gotta find your lane. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said, or even starting a business at all.
Exactly. You got to find your lane and be in it.
Absolutely.
So have you ever, though, thought about exiting the corporate world? I know that you've had multiple businesses, beforehand, like a lot of entrepreneurs, but have you ever actually thought about leaving or actually exited the corporate world and tried your hand at being full-time?
I had not. And I'll tell you why, because it goes back to me being so ambitious and have the audacity to just, want to shine.
All right, then.
I really want to see how far I can go in my career as well. So for me, it's like, I've always shared like this thing about me to where I have many goals. when I achieve the goals, I typically don't take the time to celebrate. Shame on me, because I'm always ready to look for the next thing. So I achieved this one thing and I'm like, okay, good. You did that. Okay. That's all right. And that's good and dandy, but what's next? Right. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was saying that's always my approach to it. Right. So I've definitely taken time to try to celebrate things as I progress, whether it's in business or life or in my career. However, I say that to say this, that the more I excel in my career, the more I want to see how much more I can excel. And so I think that that's just an internal goal of mine. And I definitely see, especially as a manager of people, that my coaching even transfers and translates over there as well. So I get the best of both worlds. So it's definitely, it's a benefit for me. And again, that may not be everyone's lot or their story. But that's why I have not stepped out of corporate.
There are three, and this is just based on my HR expertise and, my studies, but there are three motivators of leaders, and that is achievement, that is inclusion, and that is status. And you are definitely the achiever. I can see that just in the little bit of time we've known each other. You're definitely the achiever, because you're somebody who constantly is going, just in watching your business over the last couple of years. I'm like, dang, she really got it going on. It's like one part after another, but it's growing. So being that you do live between several worlds, and we talked about this, you are a college professor, you are a business owner, you are still a full-time corporate leader, and you are a wife. That is a lot. But with you seem to have it, you keep it all together. What's your formula? I told you we were going to get to this question. What is your formula? Tell us.
Listen, I do not have it all together. Let's start with that.
That Dr. Jatan. No.
And anybody that tells you they do, they are lying. Let's start with that.
You. Nah. No. Because when you off all this woman's brand and you see what I'm talking about, you're going to be like, yeah, what is the formula? I want to know. Tell us. Educate us today.
Well, I'll start with this. But again, the caveat is I promise I don't have it all together. But I have, not playing with you. But here's the thing. The ultimate goal for anyone who has multiple things going on at once, that has multiple logs in the fire, is keeping the main thing the main thing. And for me, that is my family, my husband, my legacy. Because if that's not together, ain't nothing else coming together. So as I typically say with my clients and potential clients, if your life is jacked up, then you can rest assured your business is going to be just as jacked up. So again, keeping the main thing, the main thing. So, that's my first step. And then always having a plan, being clear about what it is that I want to achieve. I know many people, even myself, I'm not a fan of resolutions, but I do have goals, right? Mm-hmm. And I know you referenced when we first met. At that conference, I was actually talking about SMART goals, and I typically use that in my life as well. So just making sure that I create goals that make sense, right? That have a timeline that I've documented, that I'm holding myself accountable to, and making sure it's reasonable, right? So not just, I say making it reasonable, but also at the same time, I would also encourage you to make goals that you think are unreachable, because that pushes you even more. But don't do something that, like, I'm gonna make $1 million in 2 days and you hadn't even made $100 or $2. So Let's be clear about that. But that's what I do. I keep the main thing first, and then I have a clear plan. Like for my husband and I, we have plans for our house using those 5 F's. We have plans and goals every year. We meet quarterly as if it's a corporation up in this place. Right.
Okay. Well, I have been told that marriage is like a business too. You have to run it like so. That came from my parents.
Okay. So see,
Yeah.
So, we do that same thing. So how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I carry that over into my business and over into my career. And then I share that with my clients and even my employees and my students at the college, at the university. So that's what I do, and that's how I function.
My goodness. See, she's still not telling us everything, y'all.
That's because we ain't got enough time to tell you every single thing. Now,
she's still not giving us all of it, but as I told you all before, just because a person tells you how to bake a cake, don't mean they're gonna give you all the ingredients. Some things you have to figure out for yourself.
Listen, that is a lesson in itself, because if I give you all of it right now, why would you need to talk to me?
Well, Dr. Jatan, so that we get into our last phase of the conversation, we're winding down now. I know I asked you to describe your ideal client before. What services do you offer? What are all the services that you offer for my She Is in Charge audience?
Well, I won't tell you all of them yet again, because that would be all day. The main one.
Trying to get the tea.
She's like, give me everything in this 45 minutes. But, I actually launched a planner this year. So that's one of my top priorities for the year, is pushing that out. I know many of us may start in January, start in December the year before, or we just, go through the first quarter and we're like, you know what, I do need a planner. So regardless of whatever lane you're in, I do have a planner that I've launched, and it's called Royalty Renewed Planner. And it's really based upon the fact that either, you forgot and you needed to be reminded, or you just didn't know that you are royalty. And that means that we have to be astute. We have to be intentional. We have to be confident and courageous about our goals. And this planner, it offers all of that. It gets you in alignment with those goals and keeps you, going in the right direction for your year. And then I have what I call the Bonafide Business Bootcamp, which is a virtual course, meaning that it is on a student portal, online, it's remote, it's self-paced. However, you do have time with me one-on-one. We have a cohort, it's a rolling enrollment, and then we have a private Facebook group. So this thing has been going on for at least 2 or 3 years now, and I continue to build on it every year. Every year it grows. So it's definitely a course that you would want to take, whether you are specifically starting up a business and maybe not even have a career, or you are a serialpreneur and you want to balance the two of them. So it's definitely a groundbreaking, self-paced virtual course that everyone who falls into any of the categories that we've talked about today, that are in alignment with my audience or what I do and who I teach, you should definitely sign up for this. So if you want a bankable business and a banking career, Bonafide Business Bootcamp is for you.
Bankable business, banking career. What else do you have coming up on the horizon for us? You've got the planner, you've got the boot camp that's already been out there. Anything else you want to share with the audience coming up in the year?
Well, I have a few things. One brewing that I don't want to give too much about, but then we also have new episodes. Listen, she's like,
don't tell us anything. Okay.
Girl, I gave you a lot in this session, I promise. But she cannot do me like that. But we do have some new episodes that's going to launch with Date with the Dorseys coming soon. Some more that is going to be developed from that brand as well. So hopefully you'll be looking out for that. And we are on Pandora, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, all of that good stuff. So wherever you listen to your music, you can find Date with the Dorseys podcast.
All right, She Is in Charge audience. Final question for you, Dr. Jatan. And this is where I trip people up a lot of the times. You can either share one of your favorite quotes or tell us something unique about yourself.
Okay, let's see. I have so many quotes that I enjoy. What lies behind us and what lies before us are small matters compared to what lies within us. And something that, my husband and I both always say is it's got to be in you and not on you. And that comes to anything in life. So if you're trying to portray what you see somebody else doing, if you're trying to do what you see other people doing, then it's not in you. Search deeply, do the research you need to do to figure out what it is that you're passionate about, that you do well, that you're skilled at, whether it be your career or your business. And that's where you shine. Stop following other people. Be your own self.
She just gave the real tea to you. Okay. So many nuggets in this interview. And She Is in Charge audience, again, I hope you all got your pen and paper out. I hope you all took thorough notes, because this woman is a shining star, and she is someone who is excellent at coaching and just educating other women as well. And follow her brand. Tell them where they can contact you, where they can reach you.
So you can visit my website at www.drjatun.com. That's drjatan.com. You can also follow me on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Clubhouse at drjatun. Look at her.
I ain't getting on it. Go ahead.
That Android user is rolling her eyes.
I'm not getting on it. Nope, I don't want it. I'm good.
Yeah, you can follow me on most platforms at drjatun.
Perfect. Dr. Jatan, thank you so very much for joining me today and agreeing to allow me to do this interview. It's been energetic as usual.
Well, She Is in Charge family, I hope you all enjoyed this video today and took lots of notes. Remember, it's all about purpose. Think it, speak it, write it, work it into existence. Until next time, subscribe to the She Is in Charge channel on YouTube. Don't forget to click like, comment below, and share this video with everyone you know. Thanks for supporting.